Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. I thought I'd do a little introduction video, basically outlining what it is that I'd like this channel to be about. So I made a little list of 5 things. It's really one thing with 4 things under that umbrella. The first thing, and most important thing, is I'd like this channel to be about change. And I'd like to document my own journey of change as best I can. I've been trying to think over the last couple of days how I can word what exactly it is I mean by change, because we all change in our lives, you know. Over the years we get older, more life experience, more responsibilities, you know, whether we seek them out or not. And over the course of our life, you know, we're hundreds of different iterations of ourselves. So that's not really the type of change I mean. I mean, the best way I can put it is radical change, you know, really changing the fundamental parts of your personality, philosophies, basically becoming a new person. People are always, you know, defensive about the idea of being a different person. It's almost like you're attacking their personality or something. For me, it's like I do want to be a different person, you know, because the person I've been up to this point hasn't been doing particularly well. And that's not me just being, you know, overly self-critical or self-deprecating or whatever. I haven't led a very successful life, and I'm at the point where I want to live a proper life. And I want to find out if it truly is possible to change on that sort of level, you know. I've been a loser most of my life, and I want to be a winner now. So that's number 1, change. And the things that come under change, first of all, would be strength and fitness. It's something that I love, something I know quite a lot about. But again, also something that I've never fully committed to. I started lifting weights about 14 years ago, something like that. For the first 2 years, you know, I was crazy into it. I changed my body dramatically. But from then on, I've kind of drifted in and out of it, you know. I do 6 months on, a couple of months off, a couple of months on, a couple of months off, you know. And I don't know, due to, I think I probably do have a slightly above average genetic propensity for retaining muscle. So, and because I never saw dramatic swings in my size, you know, I never really noticed so much. But what would happen is I'd go up, then back down a little bit, up a little bit, down, and I never had that continuity and fully committed to it. And this time around, that's what I'd like to do. Another thing regarding strength and fitness is, many activities in life, is I find that so often we learn a little bit about something and then that's it, you know, we just take that through our lives. Like for me, I started going in the gym. I mean, the first 2 years I was crazy into it. Like I say, I was reading Flex magazine, I was watching videos online, you know, talk to people in the gym, and you learn a fair amount, but then it seems like that's it then, like I know what I'm doing. And when I first came up with this idea back in 2019, you know, I was training very hard, but this time I wanted to do it completely different. I wanted to be honest with myself and, excuse me, I wanted to be honest with myself and admit that I didn't actually know anywhere near as much as I thought I did, because I'd never really studied it. You know, like I say, I just learned a handful of things and, you know, trained pretty hard. So I thought I knew more than I did. So yeah, this time round I'd like to learn, and one of the ideas I'd like to do a Learn Along With Me series where I go back to the absolute basics of strength training, even the history of strength training, and start from the very beginning and learn again. And yeah, so and all aspects of fitness as well, because that's another thing, you know, I got into bodybuilding style training and never really deviated too much from that. Well, this time round, you know, I do want to have an emphasis on strength, but I'd like to try other things, you know, even things like CrossFit. I mean, You know, I've never given it a second thought, and I think that's quite narrow-minded because I don't know anything about it, so I'm judging it without having any experience. So I'd like to try many new things in regards to that. So that's the second thing. The third thing is about addiction, which is something that I've struggled with in my life since, well, you know, I started smoking at 13. I'm certainly not proud of that, but it is the truth. I started smoking at 13 and started drinking heavily in my late teens, and addiction has been a problem for me, even up until recently, you know. So I would very much like to learn about my own addictions and learn about addiction as a whole and what causes it, how to deal with it, and hopefully help anybody along the way while, you know, battling my own. So that's the third thing. The fourth thing is mental health, which is something that I've struggled with all my life. Well, I say all my life, all my adult life. I definitely, you know, sort of 15 years ago, I started to develop anxiety. It's difficult to pinpoint exactly when it started because it's difficult to know what is natural sort of teen angst and what's the beginning of an anxiety problem, but certainly 15 years ago, you know, I started to develop anxiety, and that's when my alcohol addiction started, because, you know, alcohol can help with anxiety. Well, it can reduce anxiety, should I say, and unfortunately that was a connection that I made, and has been with me for my whole adult life. And yeah, I feel like I'm ready. I'm truly ready to take that on and change. Yeah, so, you know, anxiety. I have bouts of depression. I've never been tested for bipolar, but I do feel like I'm on the spectrum of bipolar. I you know, do have manic phases and I do have depressive phases. Like I say, I've never really been tested for my mental health at all, and that's something that I'd like to address as well. I've got a few ideas. I don't know how easy that would be to document now. I've never been to counselling or never been to therapy. You know, which is quite crazy when you think about it. You know, to spend 15 years of your adult life struggling with mental health and never being seen by a professional. You know, it is difficult because I also suffer with paranoia, and as a paranoid person, it's quite difficult to open up to someone. So, but I'm ready. I feel like if I truly am going to change, then I feel like I have to just lay it out bare on the table, and just be honest with every aspect of my life and try to truly understand it. I've learned to live with it to some degree, but that doesn't mean, for so many years I felt like, I'd learned to cope with it, but how well I'm coping with it, well, that's a different matter. And certainly I've reached a point where I feel like, as I say, life's not going quite the way I would like it to, and I'm ready for that change. So I'm going to address every aspect of my life. And I'd like to learn about mental health in general. Mental health is is the real deal, man. And it kills people, man. It kills people. If it's not literally, then it takes people's lives away, man. It can be crushing. It really can. It really can. Excuse me. So I would like to learn about it as a whole and try to understand it as best I can for myself, and hopefully one day I'll be able to help other people with that. So what have we got? So it's all about change. It's going to be heavily strength and fitness based, because that's something that I know quite a bit about, and I can start straight away. You know, I can start filming workout videos, and simple short workout videos, and that will help me to learn to edit and stuff. I'd like to tackle addiction, mental health, and the final thing is, just to try and lighten it up a little bit, is I'd like to finally master a musical instrument in my life. Something that I've never committed to. When I was younger, my father used to play the guitar, so he taught me a few things when I was a child, and I took to it pretty easy. And when I was about 8 years old, I took up the violin in school, but for some reason it became a battle between me and my parents, because for whatever reason I just refused to practice. And the worst thing for me was I sort of had a natural talent for it. I mean, I wasn't the best by far, but I could get away without practicing and still, stay ahead of the average in the class. So that, and at the time I thought that was, I thought I was being clever, but in reality that's probably the worst thing that could have happened to me, because I didn't realise how bad that was. And periodically then through my life, I took up the guitar as a teenager and just learnt a few chords and learnt a few licks, but never really committed to the instrument. And it has been one of those things that's just sort of been a cloud over my head, because I feel guilty almost, because as I said, I do have, I'm no Mozart or anything, but I do have a natural ability to take to instruments. And I've never utilised that skill, and there's many people in the world who would love to play an instrument, and myself. So I'm going to commit to that. So the reason I'm putting that on here is just, again, it's just that thing of making the commitment, So you have to excuse me, guys. I'm getting a little bit anxious now, talking for 12 minutes straight when, you're not very good in front of a camera is quite difficult. And in fact, I actually forgot something, because I wanted to talk about addiction. When I was talking about addiction, January the 1st, I didn't make any of a specific goal than just making a YouTube channel and just living the best life that I can, And I didn't set out to give up smoking or drinking in that moment. It's just that the 1st of January just felt like, well, if I'm going to start living the best life possible, then it didn't seem appropriate to smoke or drink. And then after a couple of days, the thoughts started to come in of like, well, when then? When will I smoke or drink? And I thought, well, why not take this as the opportunity to quit? So this is the last bit of tobacco that I got in the house. The last bit of rolling tobacco. There's no alcohol. Let's just zoom this out a bit. There's no alcohol in the house. So I don't know if you can see this. This is the last bit of tobacco, and I'm making the commitment now to give up smoking, to give up drinking, and to try and live the best life possible. Now, I know it's going to sound strange, but it's not that I plan to give up smoking or drinking forever. It's not like, I have anything against smoking or drinking in principle. I mean, sorry, zoom back in there. I like a cold beer on a sunny day just like anybody else. It's just that, there's a difference between having a few beers on a Friday night with your friends and drinking a few beers on your own a Tuesday night after you finish the job that you don't really enjoy, and you're doing it to escape, and that's what I've been doing for so long. So, the next time I smoke, I'd like to smoke a cigar, because I love smoking cigars. I've always loved smoking cigars. I've always loved a nice whiskey. But instead of just enjoying the occasional cigar and the occasional nice whiskey, I've always taken the easy way, and that's just drinking beers and smoking cigarettes. So the next time I smoke, I'm making a promise now to myself and everybody else, is I'm gonna have a nice cigar on New Year's Eve, because that's the last time I smoked New Year's Eve. I had a few glasses of whiskey. So yeah, that's my commitment. So I'm giving up smoking and drinking for this year. And yeah, I'm gonna commit to this channel, and I don't entirely know how I'm gonna do it, and I am nervous, but I am making the commitment to just keep doing it. So like now, I appreciate this video is coming on a bit. You know, I'm winging it basically, but I'm making the commitment to myself to just do it and try my best at it. So yeah, so you know, any feedback is always greatly appreciated, guys. You know, any questions or just any comments at all, you know, please, you know, I'd love to hear from you guys. And yeah, so I think I'll leave it at that. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.